Hey guys, Dr. Berg here. Welcome to the webinar. So this training, this webinar is about introducing you to you potentially being a health coach. Okay, so I'm going to show you my training and what it's involving, and hopefully you'll be interested. There's several really big problems out there presently with other coaching programs. Okay, so number one, the data is faulty. The information that people provide in the health coaching training is bad. So if you look at it, it's not going to really get people well. Okay, so that's number one. And that's primarily because of their experience. A lot of times you'll have a guru write a book on weight loss or do a membership program, and it's really based on only their success. So they really haven't worked with a lot of people. And if you've never worked with lots of people over a long period of time, you're not going to figure out all the variables and what's the best thing that will work for a person. So one of the things I'm going to talk to you today, I'm going to show you some insights on how we do it, and just so you can actually make sure that you choose the right health coaching training, because the last thing you want to do is spend all this money and find out that you're not really able to help people. So I've been doing this for 27 years, worked on 50,000 people over 27 years. So I have a lot of people to practice on, right? But I also, in addition to that, I developed different techniques, a lot of different techniques for doctors, trained over 2,500 doctors. I'll just show you a few of my techniques. Here's one right here. Okay, this is one of the techniques. Yeah, this is 8 months it takes to get through these modules. That's one technique. Here's another one. It's called neural pathway technique. And this technique, a lot of the techniques I use go after the endocrine system, but this one goes after the connection between the nervous system and the endocrine system. So it's a lot deeper. Okay, that's a technique. And then here's one. This is on muscles. Okay, incredibly simple, extremely powerful. You can take any muscle that's weak and get it to be strong, or you can take any muscle that is in spasm and get it to relax. Okay, so that's a technique. I also have another technique on joints, dynamic joint recovery. So there's a lot of different things I developed just from working with a lot of people. So I'm really hardcore obsessed about figuring things out, mysteries of the body, finding out what's the cause behind the effect. So that's all I do, nights and weekends, and I've been doing it obsessively. Also, I'm a really good studier. I can study things quickly. I can digest, good time management. So it's really hard for an average person to not only do the research and learn all this stuff, but then also have a practice and really work with enough people to see what really works. So I would say that I'm a lot more qualified than most people. Now, that's why when you watch the YouTube videos that I have, you might say, well, how did he figure that out? Well, just by working on so many people and seeing what works and what doesn't work. And I don't show you all the mistakes that I've done and the different failures. But here's the thing. In order to have to learn something, you have to know what's truth versus false, which is important versus trivial. And if you do research, like there's practitioners out there right now that train people, and they're so-called researchers, but they don't really have a clinical practice. So they just go on Google. I'm telling you right now, the answers of a lot of health problems are not on Google. You're not going to find them in the research because it doesn't differentiate what's important versus what's trivial. Okay? So you need the correct information. You need to go to someone that already has a proven track record that can just, here, this is what works, okay? This is what doesn't work. Focus on this. The other problem with health coaching training programs is that they have, they bring all these guest speakers. Like one health coaching program, they have like 100 speakers to give you all these different opinions. That is going to leave you overwhelmed and confused because you're not going to know which one is workable, which one is not. A while ago, I was invited to Florida to do a symposium on all these, like, to these rich people. And they all sat around these tables, and we rotated different groups. Like, I would sit on a table, another doctor would sit on a table, another doctor would sit on a table, and these groups would rotate around. And one doctor would tell them one thing, and then I would tell them something else. It was massive confusion. So you don't need a lot of different viewpoints. You just need the one that works the best, right? So that's another advantage is when you're actually in the field working with people, you can isolate this thing. This thing works for this. Okay, and I'll show you in a little bit. So that's one thing. The other thing that other health coaching training programs are lacking is evaluation. They don't know how to evaluate. Evaluate basically means what's behind something, what's the cause of something, okay? And even the medical profession is very, very weak. They just manage symptoms. So one of the things that I'm really strong on is how to evaluate things, look at what's deeper, and see what's behind it. And I'll just give you a couple examples of what I'm talking about. So, and this is in the course that you will learn. I think there's close to at least 15 lessons just on evaluation, okay? So we have, let's say you have night blindness, right? You can't see in the dark when you're driving. That's a vitamin A deficiency, okay? So most people know that. Some people don't know that. But here's the thing. Most people are consuming vitamin A. So why would someone be manifesting this symptom if they're taking the vitamin, right? So you need to know that the gallbladder produces bile that helps you absorb fat-soluble vitamins, including vitamin A. So if your gallbladder's a problem, then that could be the reason why you have that symptom, all right? So you have to differentiate the two. But then you have to ask questions, how do we know if it's a gallbladder problem? Well, then you'd learn, does the person bloat, burp, belch? Do they have right shoulder pain? Do they have constipation? Do they have skin problems, acne, sinus? Those are all symptoms. Headaches, that could be a symptom of a gallbladder problem. So what happens is you have to, know potentially all the possibilities that something can be, and then see what is the most likely cause, okay? Another reason why someone could have vitamin A deficiency, it could be that they're a vegan and they don't have animal products. Well, a lot of people don't know that a true vitamin A comes from animal products. Vegetables have a pre-vitamin A. You have to convert it in your body. An average person converts only 4% of vitamin A. So kale has a tremendous amount of vitamin A, but it's a pre-vitamin A, so it has to convert. So that could be why the person's deficient in vitamin A, okay? So there's all these things that you have to look at. And so when you're a health coach and you're coaching someone, you're asking questions, you're pulling strings, you're figuring things out, and then you're giving recommendations and you're educating. So I teach you all this great data. So not only can you do it on your friends and family, but other people and yourself. It's just incredibly interesting, okay? So let's give you another example. Let's say the person has fatigue. They're tired. Now, normally, it's because the person's not sleeping. But if you got to look at why they're not sleeping. Is it they have stress? Is their bladder activating all night long? They're getting up through the night? Is it hot flashes? So you got to find all this data out. I mean, you might find out that their bladder is up. Their bladder is keeping them up. So now you have to know what causes the bladder problem. If it's a male body, it could be the prostate. If it's a female body, it could be going through menopause. It could be an estrogen problem. But there's something even more common, and that could be an insulin issue, because all these pre-diabetics and people that are pre-diabetic and don't even know they're a diabetic, they have a problem with insulin resistance, and they will have problems with the bladder at night. So then you'd ask them, potential symptoms of of insulin resistance, which could be get tired after lunch, craving sweets, don't feel satisfied after you eat, can't go for a long time without being hungry. So then you can kind of isolate, okay, that's what it is. But then let's just say, for example, they are sleeping, but they're still tired, okay? So I'll give you an example of a discovery that I made on that one point, and then I'll show you a slide. I found through experience and stumbling on things that a lot of people are tired because of old injuries to the head. Because if you ask a person, if you're tired, where is the fatigue located? Most of the time they will say, in my head. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. In your head, that's weird. So then you say, have you ever had any old injuries? And then they'll look and they'll go, oh, yes, I have, right? Now, old injuries, I know, accumulate in the body. And I have techniques to get rid of old injuries, okay? So I started to actually apply that on head injuries. And oh my goodness, you can pop someone out of a chronic fatigue just like that, okay? So I'll show you the technique right now just on head injuries if you want to see it. Let me just pull this up because this is pretty cool. This is one tiny technique. Let's say, for example, they hit their head right here 20 years ago. It doesn't even matter if they were like 5 years old. That injury is still there, and it can, and later in life, create kind of like a heaviness, a pressure, or a fatigue on the head. So you want to rub into the injury, not on the injury, but rub into it from all different angles, okay? What's going to do, it's going to make the person feel really good, and it's going to release that kind of a stuck flow of energy that's right in the skull, okay? And you can do this with anything. Now, the next thing you want to do is press in the opposite point. And it's interesting because it's going to be twice as tender on the opposite point. But if you rub on there, you'll release this energy because the left and right side of the body are on a similar circuitry. Okay, so I don't want to get into why it works, but if you did this on a person, they're going to tell you, oh my gosh, do I feel so much better now. My head feels like expanded, like it's not so heavy and tight and fatigued. Okay. Now, I've taken people, they don't realize that the nose is part of the skull, like a nose injury, and you were to press into the nose from different angles, press down. Wow, that just pops open all this space, and the head becomes more energetic. It could be an eyebrow, like a ball hitting the head or falling, your head hitting a windshield. So you can remove these injuries, and that could be why they're tired. These are things that you can learn. So part of my health coaching program, you can learn acupressure. Do it yourself. You can walk people through this. It's really cool. And pain syndromes and everything. So then part of it's food, part of it's nutrition. So let's take another example. Let's say the person is depressed. Okay. So I always like to describe describe what you mean depressed, and they might say, I feel really, really heavy. And I'll look at it. Where is it? And it's in your head, right? Or it's in the body, whatever. And I found many times these depressed clients are really exhausted and tired. So I focus on the energy, get their energy up. I get them to sleep. It's almost impossible to feel depressed if you're energetic, okay? So that's another really cool technique. I mean, here's what they're doing right now, and this will blow you away. They're not only Prozac and psych drugs, but they're using right now a new type of therapy, which I think is barbaric. You're not going to actually believe this. They're using deep brain stimulation. They're actually drilling holes in the skull. There's over 90,000 people who already have this in 2 places, and they're putting wires down into the skull attached to a battery that puts a kind of like a mini shock to the system. First of all, it's never been researched fully. They don't even know what they're doing. They don't know all the side effects. It costs $70,000 to $100,000, but your insurance will cover it. In fact, in New York, they're completing a 400,000 square foot building with 1,000 psychiatrists that are about to do this to people. This is how bad it is getting. I mean, this is like scary. All right, so like here's some of the side effects. This is brain surgery of any sort of course is a high stakes proposition. Miscalculations can cause paralysis, blindness, even death. To avoid surprises, Benedict, I don't know, that's the researcher, took a common surgical precaution. He kept the patient awake in the operating room. What? You've got to be kidding me. Yeah, can you imagine being awake? So what we're trying to do is I'm trying to take this data that I have, package it in a training program, make it easy to understand, and get you to learn this so you can then help other people. So my training program, you're not working for me, you're actually having your own training health coaching program and you're helping other people. So that's kind of what it is. So I'll give you a couple other little things that we cover in the training. And this is another thing that I think is very valuable, and it has to do with nutrition and nutritional evaluations. What you want to be able to do when you do your health coaching training is observe the obvious, look at the body, look at the nails, look at the skin, look at the hair, look at the tongue, and determine what's deficient in people, okay? So I want to just kind of show you, just from the nail, what you could do if you really understood this. Like, let's take the upper nail on the left-hand corner right here. Let me just get my pointer out right here. Like right here, this nail that's kind of spooning back, that's an iron deficiency, okay? We have horizontal ridges, that is a vitamin C deficiency, especially if there's white indentations. Now the white specks, that's a zinc deficiency, okay? Brittle nails, what is that? That's biotin, that's a B vitamin deficiency, okay? Vertical ridges, that's a vitamin F deficiency. You might say, what is vitamin F? Well, that is essential fatty acids. That's a certain healthy fat that's missing. And you see that in thyroid because the thyroid can't help you absorb vitamin F. Okay? So that's just on the nail. So that's something that you can learn. Let's just take the eye, for example, and show you with the eye. Bloodshot eyes, what is that? That's a vitamin B2 deficiency. A long time ago, they called it vitamin G deficiency, but vitamin G is really B2. And you're also going to have cracked heels. So these are just all little clues that you can ask your clients, like, do you have this? Oh, you're deficient in B2. And I already know that if you eat too much wheat, you're going to have vitamin B2 deficiency. So you can see the whole chain reaction that occurs. The yellow eye, that's a liver problem. Okay, backed up gallbladder and liver. This eye with this growth on the eye, that's a vitamin A deficiency. Okay. Now, if you have dark circles underneath the eye, you've seen that, bags in the eye, that's a vitamin C deficiency, but it's really coming because the adrenal gland is burned out and the adrenal gland controls all the vitamin C. So you can have a pooling of this dark circles underneath the eye, which can be cleared if you fix that. You might not just give the person vitamin C, you might have to fix the adrenal. Here's one, watery eyes. Yeah, that is a vitamin A deficiency, sometimes B2, but vitamin A. Person just waters their watery eyes all the time. Dry eyes is a vitamin D deficiency or vitamin A as well. Okay, then we have like redness in the rims of the eye, right underneath the eye. That is a vitamin C deficiency. So as you can see, there's all these little clues that the body gives that you can learn and you can understand what's going on. So the problem in health coaching is they have bad data. They're going to get poor results. They're not going to want to keep doing it if they get bad results. Their evaluation sucks. And the last thing that's really terrible is their teaching skills are way, way, way too confusing. All right. I think I've taught a lot of people. I have a lot of teaching videos out there. And one thing you have to make sure you do is you never give people these big words. I was training a medical doctor as a health coach, and she was taught in med school that you have to give people very big words, so then they will sound smart. So then they will think they will, whatever. No, 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 no. You don't want to give people big words. If I were to start talking about cyclopentanal propanhydrophenanthranes, and I kept talking, I'm going to lose you. You're like right here, and I'm over here. And that's just a fancy word for adrenal hormones, by the way. But the point is that you don't want to use big words because you're going to overwhelm the person. And the other thing, the secret that I use is in the health coaching training, I make small little bites of information, and then I have you apply it. So you're able to digest it as you go. Because the last thing I'm going to do is give you information overload, get you confused, and then you get to the end, you have to redo everything. Because unless you can apply the information, you won't have the knowledge or the certainty, and you won't own it as much. So the key in training someone or teaching them is to have them apply it. Okay, so here's what it is. Here, now do this thing. And so there's all these lessons that we teach you. Then you turn them in, and then you become certified. So you can't get through my course without learning everything. Okay, so that's just some tips on ability to digest and assimilate. Okay, so next thing I wanted to show you what is in the health coach training program, like what actually is it, and there's just a couple little questions that I wanted to show you right here. Okay, so there's it's an online course, and you go through various modules. Okay, and then you get certified at your own pace. It could take 3 days full time or 8 weeks part time. It's up to you. You just kind of work on it over time. So the first module is 12 lessons about foods. The second is about compliance, getting people to comply and stick to your program. There's 14 lessons right there. Module 3 is all the junk foods. There's 7 lessons for that. And then we have 8 lessons on nutrients. So you can really start to, talk to a client and understand what they're deficient in. And then there's 20 lessons on stress. Okay, module 5, very important. Module 6 is about body conditions. There's 16 lessons on body conditions, because we want you, if you're trying to get them healthy, you're going to have to help them with all sorts of issues, right? And module 7 is about evaluations, 19 lessons. I think I told you there was 15, but there's actually 19. And this is I think the most important thing, to be able to figure out what's behind things. Okay? So every single lesson you have to apply what I've taught you until you can master it and you have the certainty. And then module 8 is putting everything together. Okay? Now, some questions that people have with the coaching training is like, how much does it cost? Well, number one, right now I'm offering a scholarship for some people if you qualify. Okay, and I can't say I can give this to every single person, but we do have a scholarship for everyone, so it's less than half of the price. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So the website you would go to see if you qualify is drberg.com/strategy-consult. Okay, so you just go there. It'd take you like 30 seconds to fill it out, maybe 45 seconds. And then you can see if you qualify for the discount program. It's not that expensive. Okay, but then you could talk to one of my staff just to kind of get more information about it, to see if potentially you would like to do or be a health coach. And the course and the program, as far as the legal aspects, is you're not treating diseases, you're not diagnosing anyone. You're basically, what you're doing, you're actually getting people healthy. There is no law that states that you can't help people get healthy. Okay, so that's really the goal, is to get people healthy, help them create their health using really simple things, but very powerful things too. So there's also an interface that you can have access to work with your clients remotely through phone, through internet, through Skype, whatever you want to do. And I show you a lot of examples of how to promote health coaching, what to do, what to say, how to work with people. I mean, we're doing it right now. It's really, really fun. It's very rewarding, especially if you have a purpose to help people with focusing on the root cause. If you're interested in that, that's what this program is for. So also, if you like to create some really cool effects, because I show you a lot of little gold little nuggets that you can use on people that really will take their health to the next level. Okay, so as far as what I did is I took all the techniques that we do on people and I made them do it yourself. And a lot of the techniques are in the courses that I train with my doctors. So you're going to be learning some of those as well, and it's really valuable. So anyway, I wanted to kind of just brief you on the advantages and the benefits of a really good health coach program that we have, and I would greatly appreciate you if you're interested to go ahead and fill out the form, and I'll have someone contact you maybe within a day or so, and then walk through your situation to see if this is something potentially that you might be interested in. So I hope this was enlightening. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for your attention this far, and I hope to have you part of our health coaching training program real soon. And appreciate your attention, and I will see you very soon. Okay, have a good one.